Anyway, so the Seraphic Doctor. A quick word about the doctors first. The Latin West has recognized four men: St. Augustine, Pope St. Gregory the Great, St. Jerome, and St. Ambrose as what we would call primary doctors or teachers of the faith from very, very early on. Basically, from the time that these men wrote until that point forward, these men were like embraced by the Latin West. It wasn't formally made a thing, though, until Boniface the Eighth, many, many centuries later, in the 14th century, no, 13th century, late 13th century, Boniface the Eighth recognized them in a formal way with the title that they're given today, with the prestige backed up by the magisterium, that we get a formal declaration of these men as the four doctors of the Latin Church. It wasn't until several centuries after that that we have Pope Pius V in 1558, I think, that he declares Thomas a doctor of the church. As well, Pope Pius V adds the four historic Eastern doctors that the West has recognized: St. Athanasius, St. Gregory Nazianzen, St. Basil, and St. John Chrysostom. So at that point, we have 9 doctors of the church formally recognized by the magisterium. Now, Pius's successor, Gregory the 13th, it's he who declares a Bonaventure a doctor. So put all of this together in your minds, right? You have in the West 8 doctors recognized from very early on. East and West, 8 doctors, right? Augustine, Gregory, Jerome, Ambrose, Athanasius, Gregory Nazianzen, Basil, Chrysostom. All right, so these guys have been recognized. Then they're formally recognized by the church. As well, the church, before they recognize anybody else's doctors, they recognize Thomas. Immediately followed by that, you have the church recognizing Bonaventure. So, outside of these ones that had historically already been sort of recognized as doctors, the two men that the church sort of elevates to this status are Thomas and Bonaventure. Now, I grant that the early church fathers, especially those 8, have a sort of place of honorary preeminence. But following that, even in terms of how we could and probably at times maybe should be reading the early church fathers, the works of Thomas and Bonaventure, I think, need to be held in a high position. And even for the most adamant of Thomist exclusivists, they really have a hard time denying that following Thomas in pronouncements made from Holy Mother Church, many of the same documents in which Thomas is recognized, there too is the Seraphic Doctor, St. Bonaventure.